Hi, welcome to our 2021 Young Life Fundraising Banquet. Thank you for taking a few moments to experience in a small way what Young Life and Wildlife are all about. If we have not had a chance to meet, my name is Nathaniel Chitty and I am the Area Director in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It is my privilege to share and celebrate all of the incredible things happening in our community through the mission of Young Life. As you saw earlier, Young Life has been a part of Southeast Indiana for the past 30 years. That means there has been 30 years of investing in middle school and high school students so that they would have the opportunity to be known. If you are joining us today as a current financial partner, we want to say thank you. Your partnership is bringing about real transformation in kids' lives. If you are joining us today to learn more about Young Life, it is our hope that you might consider becoming an agent of hope and change in kids' lives by partnering with us financially after getting a glimpse of what Young Life really is. Our goal is to raise $36,000 today in order to ensure we meet our budget for 2021, as well as establish a firm financial foundation as we head into the new fiscal year. At any time during our banquet, you can go to giving.younglife.org/lbergbanquet to donate. At this point, you might be asking yourself, okay, so what is Young Life? Young Life and Wildlife is a community of adults seeking to build authentic relationships with high school and middle school students. With the support of administrators, we go to school lunches, sporting events, choir concerts, and any other activities, all with the goal of connecting with kids on their turf. Events like club, camp, and campaigners strengthen these relationships by fostering experiences of belonging, connection, fun, and adventure. If you would like to hear more about these experiences, please reach out to me at the info below. Ultimately, when a Young Life or Wildlife leader takes the time to truly get to know a student, that student gets a glimpse of how much they are loved by their Creator. When someone understands how much God truly loves them, a foundation has been established for real, eternal transformation to take place. Today, we are going to highlight where we have been, the current landscape of our ministry, and where we are going in the future. And to start things off, I would love for you to hear from a 2016 Lawrenceburg High School graduate who was transformed by the mission of Young Life and his relationship with Community Fellowship Church. The grace, truth, and love he experienced here has inspired him to be a catalyst for change in a city on the other side of the world. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Ricky Simpson. I graduated from Lawrenceburg High School in 2016. I got involved in Young Life when I was in high school. My sophomore year, there was the big ice cream fight, and it just sounded really interesting to me, and I decided to go and check it out. The next year after football practice, a friend of mine invited me to go to campaigners, and I joined him, and that was really my start with Young Life. When I was younger, my home life wasn't super stable. My parents had struggled with addiction. My dad went to prison on the day before my 6th birthday. As I got older, my parents had gotten their life together and we were a happy family. Played sports, just enjoyed life. When I was 16 years old, my father had relapsed. He went to a rehabilitation facility, and because he wasn't working, we had almost lost our house, and my perfect world kind of fell apart. Before Young Life, I thought that I was a Christian just because it was a part of my culture. I believed in a God, but I didn't necessarily have this personal relationship with him. I used the Bible as a book of morals without knowing it, just knowing what people have said about it. As I continued going to Young Life, continued going to church, I just kept learning more and more about him and his character, learning who he is and how little this life matters in comparison to everything Jesus gives us. Because I have experienced God's grace, now I hope to continue living into that grace and loving other people as Jesus loved me, growing as a Christian, reading into his word more, and just living and experiencing life with young people. God used Young Life to give me hope when there wasn't any. to give me friends I didn't know I needed. God used experiences like Young Life Camp, campaigners, and even an ice cream fight to draw me closer to Him. God, using the ministry of Young Life, made Himself known to me. For a long time, I had a desire to live in other countries and learn other languages and meet new people. For some crazy reason, my path led me to Gießen, Germany. At first, I really wasn't sure why, but now I see that God is calling me to bring Young Life there. I think it's important to get Young Life started to give young people in Gießen the chance to meet Jesus Christ. I don't know if we're gonna have an ice cream fight. I don't know where we'll be at camp, but I do know God is with me. I think it's important to keep Young Life going in Lawrenceburg because through Young Life I met Jesus Christ, and that is the most important thing we can give kids.
Hey guys, I'm back in Gießen now, and I just wanted to introduce you to one of the churches we're hoping to connect with. You see behind me, and I just really want to thank you for supporting Young Life both in Lawrenceburg and here in Gießen.
I am thrilled to share that Lawrenceburg Young Life has decided to partner with Ricky in his efforts to establish this ministry in Gießen. We are supporting him financially as well as assisting him in any other ways we can. If you would like to hear more specifically about Ricky and his vision for Gießen, I'd love to connect you with him. I recently asked a couple of students in middle school and high school what Young Life and wildlife leaders mean to them. Take a look at what they had to say.
Hi, my name's Ian.
My name is Logan Gold.
My name is Xander Sterrett.
Hi, my name is Daniel Perry.
Hey everybody, my name is Tanner Fox. I am currently a junior at Lawrenceburg High School.
I found out about wildlife through my teachers, Miss Billig and Mrs. Bray, and I decided to try it out.
I love seeing everyone get together for Young Life and just see all the smiles on people's faces.
I love that Young Life can still work on incorporating everyone, even with wearing masks and doing campaigners virtually, and just the inclusivity of everyone and just feeling welcome.
My favorite thing about wildlife is having somebody to talk to about God and the friendships that I've made.
I love everything that we do at Young Life, when it's connecting to friends, to discussing the Bible. It's amazing the way that we can connect with all these other people on our faith and our friendships. It's just flat out amazing and incredible.
If you struggle with anything like bad and it's really stuck and you don't really feel like you have anybody to talk to about it, if you go to wildlife, you have amazing people to talk to, you have great times, and it's a great activity after school, after a long stressful day of school.
It's just like we get to have our time to talk about God and have fun while we're doing it.
When 6th graders come into the middle school, it gives them the chance to talk about God and to talk about their relationship with Jesus Christ.
I would just like to thank everyone that helps support Young Life and makes it completely possible. We couldn't do it without you guys. I can definitely speak for myself, if not all the other people in Young Life, that this is such a great organization.
I just want to give a big thank you to whoever is keeping wildlife here in Lawrenceburg, and it means a lot.
One of my favorite parts of that video is when Ian, an 8th grader, talks about the people he is able to talk to after school at Wildlife. He can talk about anything that might be bad or that might be really stuck. If leaders were not present and attentive, they might have missed that opportunity. Leaders show kids that Young Life and Wildlife is not another place where they have to perform or achieve for adults. We strive to create spaces for kids to figure out their identities while also not forcing them to grow up too fast. Up next, I'm excited for you to now hear from a couple of people who would like to share the impact Young Life has had on them.
Hello, I'm Allison.
Hi, my name's Corbin Johnson, and I'm a junior at Lawrenceburg High School.
I'm on the committee for Young Life, and I'm a teacher at Lawrenceburg Primary School.
She's also my mom.
My favorite thing about Corbin, I would say, is his heart. He's just an all-around good kid. He's always thinking about others.
I have a lot of favorite things about my mom, but I'd say probably one of the best qualities about my mom is that she's so supportive, and I know that she'll be with me through everything.
various people I heard just kind of the word Young Life working at school. I had some former students that I had seen had been to camp on Facebook, but I didn't really know what that meant still. Had a conversation first with our doctor, Dr. Barkdahl. He had a sign on his door when we were seeing him, and it says, "Ask me about Young Life." He thought it'd be a good fit for Corbin. Still just wasn't sure about it. Then Corbin started getting invited by his soccer coach, Chitty, and then that's when I think the seed really started planting for him to attend.
When I first started coming to Young Life, I was instantly welcomed by everybody. I remember the first time I was sitting there outside with some of the guys who went, and they all asked me how my day was, or kind of asked me about myself. And I felt really included and involved from the start because everybody was just so nice, and yeah, everybody had a place there.
My mom had asked me one time, what is Young Life? What do they do? Do I really know these adults that Corbin is hanging out with? But Corbin told my mom that he was learning to become a man, and it just kind of hit home, and that was just kind of sealed the deal. The more I learned, I realized that Young Life meets students where they are with a relationship with Christ. It takes a village to raise a child, and the leaders at Young Life are definitely part of our village.
Alex means a lot to me. Alex is a guy who I always know is there for me. Just go hang out and get food with, or he's somebody I can just go have fun with. And it means a lot to have something like that in my life, because he's somebody who's not like one of my friends or one of my family, but he's a guy he's kind of like both. I can always trust him and ask him the hard questions, or just go have a good time.
When I see Corbin hanging out with Alex, it just makes my heart happy, because Alex is more than just this adult, he's family. As they're changing and getting ready to welcome a baby into their home, he's made Corbin a part of that. Corbin and another student helped build the crib for their nursery, and it just means a lot.
COVID really has sucked for everybody, and especially high schoolers, everyone. It was really nice during the lockdown, especially to have Young Life, because we were always on Zooms or Google Meets talking to each other, and all the leaders, you can tell they genuinely cared, because they would always make sure that you were okay, and they would always, have activities for us to do together. I'd say that my relationship with Christ is growing, and I'd say that Young Life is a great place to be for that. It's a place where they do it, but they don't kind of shove it in your face. But they do it to where you can ask them questions. They talk about their experiences, and it's really great to help grow my relationship with Christ.
What I love about Young Life is that Young Life meets kids where they are. So they might not be going to church right now, or even know what church is, or have any experience, or maybe have a bad experience. So Young Life gives an opportunity to connect kids to churches and have that relationship keep growing. We have the opportunity to host campaigners at our house every week, and just can hear laughter, and you can hear them getting serious, and you can just tell that they're having a good time and really getting something out of the time that they have spent during campaigners. And it just makes my heart happy hearing all those little things going on downstairs, and I'm blessed to be a part of that. Thanks for supporting Young Life. We're glad you're here.
That was a terrible countdown.
Okay.
What is it, this 1, 2, 3? You could be going to 5, you could be going to 10. Do 3, 2, 1, and then point at us. That's way better.
All right, ready?
Thanks for supporting Young Life. Oh, come on. Thanks for supporting Young Life. We're glad you're here.
Hopefully you noticed the impact Young Life has made not only on Corbin, but his mom as well. Allison now serves on our committee behind the scenes making Young Life happen. Maybe today you are feeling a call to serve as a committee member or even as a leader. I would love to hear from you to discuss what that might look like. You may have noticed by now that real transformation takes showing up day after day. It is not necessarily a single event or even several events. It takes us doing everything we can to make sure kids are known, and that takes all of us. Finally, I would love for you to hear from our keynote speaker, Mason Keller. He is the area director in Lewis County, Washington. He is helping us establish a Young Life presence in the Dearborn County Juvenile Detention Facility. He would love to share with you the impact a new initiative called Young Life One has had on his community and himself. After this segment, our committee chair, Sarah Mcmullen, would like to close out our banquet. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.
Hey guys, my name is Mason Keller and I'm the area director for Lewis County Young Life in Western Washington. And I have the privilege of doing Young Life at the Lewis County Juvenile Detention Facility with kids who are incarcerated. There really wasn't anyone else who was doing work with incarcerated students in Young Life, or at least anyone who we knew. So we took a look at this population of kids who we felt like was overlooked and not getting the attention that they needed. And we felt like it wasn't just an option for us, it was really a mandate that we had to take Young Life Club into this facility and begin to engage with these kids and share the gospel with them. And from that effort and a few others around the country is really where the vision for Young Life One was born, to do ministry with kids who are incarcerated, impacted by the foster care system, homelessness, or human trafficking. One of the biggest challenges that we faced was really that nobody else had done it before us. So we were making it up on the go. We learned a lot on the fly, and it's given us a great opportunity to take some of that knowledge and be able to share it with people like your guys' staff in Lawrenceburg and in Dearborn County. Tonight you guys are going to get to hear from my friend Alex. It's been a great privilege for me to watch God work and move in Alex's life, and so I hope you guys enjoy getting to hear some of his story.
My name is Alex Pantojo. I'm 18. My life growing up, it was kind of stressful, like a lot of family problems, getting locked up. A while ago our house flooded and we lost everything, and so we had to start off from, the bottom again, selling cans. Just a few years ago, we lost our house for missed a payment and we lost our house. When I first started getting locked up, it was just, I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't think I was no one, it was no big deal for me because my life was already screwed up. My first time going to Young Life in juvie is I don't know, we were locked in ourselves for practically all day. We just went to school, and then, we love to see people that are from the outside, just to entertain us throughout the hours that we're there. I think I met Jacoby first, and he told me to go to Young Life outside of juvie, so I started getting more involved with Young Life. Going to Young Life camp, it was amazing. It's something I've never seen before. And I got to know other people that were really, really kind. They helped me out. And my first day, when I went there, we were talking about God, and the more I got into it, I gave my life to Jesus. So the year after that, I did work crew, and it was dope. I got to meet a bunch of cool people. I just wanted to see how it was behind the scenes, of helping other people, giving them, making them happy. And then there was, I think, a couple of people that, kept messing around, didn't really care. I felt like that was me back then, so I wanted to talk to them, tell them how, because I knew they were going through something on the way they were acting, so I told them my story. We became friends and all that. They started going to the rest of the clubs. Back then I didn't really think about stuff before I did it, And then when I got to know Jesus, I guess he just made me rethink stuff and see it in a different perspective. He helped me get on the right path, so I feel like he'd help other people get on the right track.
Being involved in this ministry has changed me in so many ways, but the most significant one is I now see a population of kids who live on my street, live in my neighborhood, who I grew up around, that I just never saw before. I didn't know that there were kids who were living in such extreme situations right within my community, that there were kids who were struggling with drug abuse at 10 or 12 years old, or were selling drugs, or were involved with gang violence, or were abused or neglected. I just didn't see it. And I grew up in my community. I've lived in the community that I serve in for almost my entire life. And I didn't see so many of these kids, and God has given me eyes to see them. If I had to pick one memory that stands out to me about my Young Life 1 work, it would be sitting on the side of the lake at Washington Family Ranch, the Young Life camp that we go to, with 4 formerly incarcerated students. This was 2 years into the ministry that we had started, and honestly, I didn't know if we'd ever get to that place. To have kids who I had met in the juvenile detention facility sitting at camp with me, hearing the gospel, having the time of their lives, and having an opportunity to respond and give their lives over to Jesus Christ. When we started this ministry, I expected that it would really impact kids who are incarcerated and formerly incarcerated, but I had no idea the impact it would have on our entire Young Life area and all of our community. This has impacted our traditional Young Life kids, kids who maybe have lived lives that haven't been plagued with the same struggles or difficulties that some of our incarcerated students have faced. It's given some of those kids a different empathy to see the situation of kids who are around them, that maybe they used to be judgmental of this population of kids, and now they see that their circumstances have been very, very different. It's also given all of our Young Life leaders a different vision to see who's the furthest out kid from the gospel, who is it who isn't hearing the message right now, who is it that I need to reach out to and pursue. So I get excited about getting other areas involved with Young Life 1 and working with incarcerated students, because I can visualize kids in your community right now who are not having an opportunity to hear the gospel, but in the months and years to come are going to be able to sit with Young Life leaders and have fun and play games and enjoy life together, as well as have an opportunity to know that they're loved and cared for, not only by Young Life leaders, but by the God of the universe. We believe that Young Life belongs in these facilities because we're the people who are already in the spaces and places where high school and middle school kids are. So why wouldn't it make sense for us to be in this incarceration facility? We also believe that we have the best opportunity to support these kids, not only when they're incarcerated, but after they're released. That our leaders are already well positioned within the community to support kids who are going to be released from detention and are looking for places to connect and be supported. We found that it can be really easy for kids to want to turn their lives around and follow Christ when they're incarcerated, but when they're released, there's a rough road ahead of them. And the Young Life leaders in your community are going to have an opportunity to walk that road alongside of these students. When we were getting ministry started, the one thing that really launched us and could have got us going even faster is people deciding to advocate for our ministry. When you guys hear about this work and you're excited about it, go and talk with other people about it. We need more people in the community to know about what's going on with Young Life, and specifically with Young Life for incarcerated students. Because there are people in your community who have a desire to impact this population of kids, but they just don't know that we're doing it yet. They're not aware that there's this vision to start this ministry in Lawrenceburg, and we want to give those people an opportunity to participate. There are a lot of great organizations out there, and you guys could choose to give to so many of them. But I believe that Young Life really deserves your consideration because we go where kids are. We don't sit and wait for kids to come to us. We go and we spend time in the spaces and places where kids are at. And this movement to pursue incarcerated students is just another example of that. That in the mission of Young Life, your staff and volunteer leaders are going to break down every barrier they can to pursue kids for the sake of Christ. And you guys get to be a part of that work. It's not just the staff or the leaders who walk into a facility who get to impact kids. It's the entire community of people who are giving and praying and advocating for this ministry that are going to wrap their arms around this population of kids and show them that they're loved and cared for.
Hello, I'm Sarah Mcmullen, and I live here in Lawrenceburg, and I work at Lawrenceburg Schools as a speech therapist. I volunteer as a Young Life leader and as the committee chairperson, which is a group of adults that work behind the scenes for this ministry. You saw earlier a timeline of the past 30 years of Young Life in Southeast Indiana. But for me, there is a point on that timeline that's missing, and it was my sophomore year at Lawrenceburg High School. We had Young Life that year, and I had a volunteer leader that drove from Miami University every week to meet with me and my friends. And she invited me to Young Life Camp, and it changed my life. It's where I learned who Jesus was to me. So it went away though. It was here for a year and it went away, and I just don't think they had a group of volunteer adults working behind the scenes, and I don't think they had the funding. So when I heard a couple years back that Young Life was here in Lawrenceburg, I knew I had to jump on board and get involved. And it's where I've decided to put my volunteer efforts and where my husband and I have decided to give monthly. So you've seen where we hope to go with Young Life, and you've heard that we're looking for $36,000 in new giving, whether that's $3,000 in monthly giving or one-time donations, but you have an opportunity to partner with us and join hands with us. So there's a link below that will walk you through how to give a one-time donation or how to set up a monthly giving. There will also be a link in the comment section. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos. We would love for you to partner with us and help to move this ministry forward and continue to reach kids here in Lawrenceburg. Thank you so much.